Hello, welcome to the Fixing Football podcast with me, Martin Naylor. I'm joined by Liam O'Meara, and tonight we are going to be discussing rule changes, the current rule changes that have been discussed and agreed upon by the FA and IFAB and the PGMOL and whoever else are involved. We're getting deep into the weeds of rule changes amongst the beautiful game. So, as I said, Liam O'Meara is here. Liam, welcome. How are you?
Very well, Martin. Thank you. Very well. Yeah, some really interesting rules, everyone's favourite thing in the world. Rules that are there to keep us in place, holding us down in this system, Martin. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright. Life's fun. Loads of change. In the last week, new MacBook, new phone, new car. Just craziness. There's too much things. There's not enough cloud to deal with the amount of space that I need to have everything synced up in one life.
Your clear score's getting a batter in there.
Yeah, big time. I've had a few alerts.
Yeah.
and I've just done the mortgage thing as well after you fixed.
You're lucky. You're lucky if it's just now, because everyone's had that bite at some point. Well, everyone lucky enough to own a home has had that bite at some point, and yeah, mine was back in July, I think. So yeah, you're quite lucky you've got away with it this long, really.
Well, it's every couple of years, isn't it? You know, when you fix term ends and you.
But this one had a bit of a boom, didn't it? In terms of everyone had the one, exactly. Everyone's had that bite. Sort of 2023, end of 2023 was it when the Trustonomics or whatever everyone called it, completely messed everyone's finances up. But yeah, we're not a political podcast, Martin.
Thank God, imagine being one of them at the moment. Christ.
Yes, we went for the quite crowded football podcast market as opposed to the equally crowded politics podcast market.
Which one's more complicated?
Well, I mean, we could have gone true crime. There's a few people doing that one as well.
It's a bit of an heavy. Or maybe we got to get through the weeds there.
Or World War II history. There's a few of them knocking around as well.
It's already happened.
I'd be good at that one, I reckon, if we did that. Anyway.
Yeah, so anyway, no more credit checks for the foreseeable for me.
Yes.
I need to hang off. Other than that, new baby on the way, so we are in preparation for his arrival.
Nesting is a word, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got some rooms to switch around and stuff.
Like MacBooks and that.
For our fans or friends or just listeners who know I am also a DJ in my other job. This week announced probably the biggest gig of my life. I'll be playing Friday, Saturday at Creamfields this year.
Woo!
Which is, it's pretty big, pretty special. Very much looking forward to it. So if you're listening and you go to Creamfields this summer, come and find me. Friday and Saturday I'll be on. And you can find it all on my social media. So
I'm very supportive of your DJ, mine, but I won't be at Creamfields. It's not really my scene, but I do wish you well there, of course.
I can't be having that sort of negativity. I
don't think that's negative. Don't seem good looking. That
your brand of banter is not the most uplifting.
Fair.
Constant praise and adulation at all times when I'm DJing. I'm quite sensitive.
Okay. Okay, you need to seek that from other people. That's fair enough.
How are you? How's life? What's going on?
Not much, Martin. Everything's pretty similar. The podcast is the highlight of my week, so everything else just pales in comparison. So, not really had too much. I had a couple of days off work. Just a bit of a relaxation. I've got nothing really to add. It wasn't that interesting. I watched Bolton, but we'll talk about that later.
I'll get onto that. Me too, though. Like I really do like doing this podcast. So, if everyone does like it, please let us know. Get in touch and subscribe and follow us and do all the good stuff. YouTube's been going really well recently. I'm going to do a bit more work on the branding this week. So.
As well, on that mind, or if you're interested and people like hearing what you have to say, maybe you could join us for a podcast. I
want to know what I don't just want to discuss what I think about football. I really am genuinely interested in people's opinions on what they think is wrong with the game in general. You know, FIFA, the offside rule, fucking the different coloured boots that are being released. I want the game to be fixed for everyone. And
not
it's not going to be the same for everyone.
No, I don't want everyone. Like, I want to very much be clear on this invite. It is for intelligent, so people that have something good to say, or at least interesting. They can't be stupid and boring. So no stupid or boring people. We're not interested in their opinions. It's
like one of them Venn diagrams. Can't be stupid and boring.
Yeah,
you can be one of them if you're one of the other two things.
yeah. If you're stupid and interesting, that probably will get us. That will probably be the easiest way to get famous with this. So that would be brilliant. Like, stupid and interesting. That's I mean, that again, we don't want to be a political podcast though. So I mean, that's very much how politics works now. But yeah, stupid and interesting. Please step forward.
Lots of hands raised. Right, let's get into it. So this week in football, you know what? Because Arsenal haven't played since Tuesday, since just after we recorded last week, and things went to shit. We weren't in the FA Cup this weekend, so I've had a weekend off all football, and I've kept up with the scores and stuff. But yeah, just like from watching football, it was just one thing off my mind that I really didn't have to care about.
Oh, that's good. So that makes this very, very one-sided in terms of heavy lifting of talk about football, then, doesn't it? For me this weekend.
Just the way you like it, mate.
Yeah. So I did watch quite a lot of football this weekend. The FA Cup, and to keep it and what a weekend of FA Cup action, by the way. Like that's as good as as far as the FA Cup goes. That's as good as it's been for a long, long time. Full stadiums.
Yeah.
Great games.
I did watch highlights, so I'm not going to say I was completely numb to it all. But tell me about some of the controversies, or not controversies, but the new rules that have been coming in as of this weekend, and the rule changes that have been proposed, should I say.
So this has been the long time coming, first of all. So we'll start with what happened this weekend. It's the long time coming SAOT technology. Well, actually, the T means technology. So SAOT, the semi-automated offside technology, which has been essentially been not rumoured, but been proposed in the Premier League / England since the World Cup, really, where everyone sort of saw it used at the World Cup. So the the Premier League, very important to make this distinction, the Premier League essentially wanted to introduce this, but they've waited for the right technology, and they've waited for the right window in which to test this. So the understanding was that they ideally wanted this to be coming before Christmas, but there was a reason why not. There was a reason that, and I don't know what it was, but the testing wasn't there, because they ideally would wanted to test it in England in a non-Premier League fixture first of all, which is why this FA Cup round of fixtures was perfect, really. And it's later in the process, so you more than likely got more Premier League type games in there.
So just for clarification, the semi-automated technology is the waterfall style system that they had in the World Cup, where and if you're fans of the Champions League, you'll have seen it sort of been a bit more active in that, where you'll see basically a computer generated image where there'll be a graphic down, and it looks like basically looks like a waterfall, and you can see an arm or a shoulder or a toe poking through. That's what we're talking about here. Yeah,
but it's important to make this distinction, because I think everyone just thinks everything's the same. This is a different version. So these are private companies essentially that try and win these contracts. So the Premier League's version is different than the one in the Champions League, and it's different in the World Cup one. And the idea is that this is a higher end version. You know, this is the top of the range, top bollocks version that is going to really reduce the amount of time that we're waiting, which will bring us to...
We've just been waiting for an update.
Yes, and which brings us to very much, I think, the record one that we had in the weekend it was introduced. The record amount of time of any offside VAR decision happened to happen that weekend.
Describe this to me. Which was this one then?
So this was in the Bournemouth Wolves game, and it was an 8 minutes VAR.
And what were they checking?
Check. The issue, it was for offside, And the issue with this, and this is an interesting revelation, but just shows that no technology is perfect, is that the semi-automated technology struggles in crowded penalty area offside decisions. So
not like where it's needed then.
Well, it will shave a lot of the time off. They reckon that it will shave off 4 minutes of added time a game. That's what this technology. And it's about 30 seconds off a decision. That's what they reckon it'll save. Which is still not brilliant, but it's 30 seconds better. Like, that you're always going to be improving. But it created a problem in this instance where the crowded area meant that the number of cameras, and I believe it's around 20 cameras. I think I saw a match of it. They showed it on BBC coverage. This little sort of, it like an old-style CCTV, that are on the ball and sort of can go around in circles. There's 20 cameras installed for it. And I believe, and this is the key element in which it's different, is one of the biggest issues with the current version of offside technology for VAR is the frames and at what point is the ball kicked. So this, and it's about 30 frames per second, I think, the current filming. And this is 100 frames per second. So, and it can determine, I think it self-determines when the ball was kicked. And it will estimate that based on AI. So, the accuracy level is increased as well. So it's not just about the waterfall and that. It's the accuracy of when the ball was kicked in terms of the offside as well. They're the fundamental differences.
I mean, I wonder how granular we can get to it with that. I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with frames per second, but 24 to 30 is about the average what you get on a smartphone unless you increase it. The latest iPhone, for example, will go up to 120 frames per second.
Yeah, I will say, just so you come in, just to answer that about how familiar I am, and I think this is important, right? The truth is, until I worked for a nationwide technology company selling televisions, I had no clue about frames per second, and I had no concept of that. Now, I worked there, and I learned, but I would say the average customer watching football has no clue about this.
Yeah, if you ever slowed down a video on your phone, and you can flick through it, if you filmed it at 100 frames per second, you'll be able to get a finer... you'll be able to get a finer picture at them paused moments and stuff like that. So, for this, in terms of what my original point, what I was going to say is it from when the moment the ball is kicked or the moment it's released? Because as we increase these frames per second, we're talking a very split second.
It's a very good question.
Someone kicks the ball. Do you know what I mean? If you slow something down this much, which is what we're doing with video replays and stuff like that, where referees are going to the screen, we're seeing still and really slowed down images of tackles, except handballs, whatever the referees are checking. But the moment of a kick here is like...
Well, I mean, the truth is, it depends what they put in the rules. And this will now be coming probably in next season, because I think the feeling amongst the leadership of the Premier League is that it's too late to bring it in now. It will create a weird dynamic to bring it in now when so much is on the line. So next season it comes in. I suppose it depends on what they put in the rules. What I would believe they would do, and how I would do it, is to go back to sort of some GCSE level physics, the moment of inertia. So as soon as the ball moves, like as soon as the contact causes the ball to move, that's theoretically when it's that point. That's how I would personally do it.
That sounds like a fair point.
Like, I feel like that's probably the easiest way for the frames, I don't know, the technology to pick it up as well.
Yeah.
Rather than touch and release.
I agree, that seems fair.
Fixed. So that's fixed. Next.
Fixed, yeah. I mean, are we curious as to why this hasn't already been in? Since we're talking the World Cup here, which is 2.5 years ago now. Like, why have we not seen a version of this yet? I
think it was supposed to be this season. That was the plan. But I feel like I understand there was issues in terms of implementation. And you see this in a lot with any kind of I feel like we sometimes in life we put football into a different kind of bracket than we do in normal sort of business things. But sometimes when you're implementing something new, there can be snags. And I just think that the reason this has been so late to testing is the relevant testing point. I think that from pretty much from the end of the year to Christmas, it's kind of been ready to start rolling out. But it's at that point we're like, we don't really want to do this first in the Premier League. Like, we want to do it ideally in a different competition. You can't do it in the Championship because who's going to pay for that? So it's these sort of Premier League level type games. It just feels like it's just been a slow implementation. But you're right. It was supposed to be this season. That was originally my understanding. We've been talking about this since the podcast started.
Last one then about this, and it just popped into my head, so I think it's worth discussing. But say this comes in and it works really well, and we get to a point of it where it is accepted and most people are happy with it, i.e. goal line technology. Can we do away with linesmen? Is there literally any need for a linesman at this point?
Yeah. Not yeah, we can do it. There's absolutely a need. Because I'm actually a believer in more referees. I would have more eyes, because there's theoretically you could remote referee a game now. You're sort of in that position, but I just feel like you're taking the game away from the match going fan experience, and you don't really want things to move on quickly as possible. And for everything else, and they probably will help a lot with offsides. I think linesmen for offsides, I don't think that's a massive issue. I think generally, in terms of the degree of accuracy, they seem to get it right with the naked eye is amazing. But,
I'm not saying that they are crap and useless. I'm just saying, are we literally replacing people's jobs here?
I think it'll help with the speed of the close decisions. They like what they would call key match decisions in football. They would help with that. And this is only going to be the Premier League as well. They're just sets of eyes. I would have more sets of eyes, personally, to be honest.
I would have more and no technology, ideally. That would be my dream scenario.
I think when you... And another decision that we may quickly, at the end of the day, talk about it with regard to the mistimed tackle of Millwall's goalkeeper, Liam. What's his name? Liam? I can't remember. He doesn't need me saying his name. He's probably getting enough stick online as it is anyway. But he was late to the tackle with Mateta.
Mateta, right, okay, sorry.
So that is like the classic VAR working. Now, we could talk about Michael Oliver all day, but theoretically, he nearly didn't get sent off. So that's just the case for VAR played out, very much like reminding you why it's important there, I think.
I talked to you about that because we won't be the only ones who had that video floating around a few WhatsApp groups over the weekend of Millwall's goalkeeper absolutely karate kicking Mateta of Crystal Palace's head off, swivel. He was out, and it was horrible to see. Now, I was shocked to learn that it went to VAR. Now, you were right. So I put the question to you about this, that it went to VAR, and you correctly said, so VAR works. I'm just trying to give context here.
No.
Yes, I
agree.
I'm not doubting that VAR works. The fact that Michael Oliver, our best referee, supposedly, is having to go to VAR after this incident. I mean, what could he be checking?
I think it's a funny one, this. I do agree it's a massively an incorrect decision on his end. And there would be sanctions on that. We come back to the idea of justice must be seen that we talked about a few weeks ago with referees, and I think that would be something that would help, because people would just be able to go, right, okay, he got that wrong, here's his punishment, everyone moves on. The challenge, do you know what it is? I should understand why it happened. Why Michael Oliver missed it, because like everyone, I was like, and I just think it's because it's such an unusual one. You don't see that all the time, and it's almost like it's split second it's happened, and he's almost like his brain's not processed it in the right way because it just doesn't happen. I don't know. I'm just trying to explain it.
No, yeah, I feel it's good to discuss because in the end the right decision was made. But it's not like me and you have jumped in and we've never refereed a professional game in our lives and we're just going off a win and we're deer in the headlights moment. This is a seasoned professional at the top of his game, apparently. And I keep saying stuff like apparently to because that just shows my disdain for referees and stuff. But like in this instance, the correct decision was made in the end, fine. But even if the goalkeeper hasn't caught him with his like boot and he's only caught him with his hip after he's made contact with the ball, it's still a red card.
No, I agree with all that. I agree. The only thing I've listened to a few podcasts that have described this idea of he was waiting for VAR to make the decision. I don't subscribe to that. He could have sent him off and the same thing happened. So I don't really... I think that's coming from a bit of a bitter place about VAR, to be honest. But I keep going back in my head to this idea that it was such an unusual situation. And I was obviously a bit off work today, so I watched it at Sky Sports News, as you do. The only time I ever watched that stupid channel. But... they were looking for examples, and I think the example they got back, they went back 30 years to Mark Bosnich doing it to Klinsmann, and I'm like, that's 30 years ago. Like, for the example, like, the only other one I could think of is the Schumacher World Cup one. That's the one, that's the famous one, isn't it? The one where...
Was it Germany one on Mane on Edison not so long ago?
Yeah, but that wasn't a red, was it? Oh. Did he send him off? No.
Oh, he did send him off. Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he did, you're right. But there's not many examples of it. It doesn't happen that much, but it's 100% red card. It's 100% a mistake by Michael Oliver, but VAR was there, and it did what it needed to do. That's how I see it. It was these obvious errors the reason everyone would think of the pre-VAR world. Everyone would be screaming for VAR after that.
I don't know. I just think he'd be straight off. My issue with VAR, and we've spoke about this before, and we'll probably speak about it again. And this is just my stance on it, is that it is a crutch for the referees. It's the only scenario I've seen played out, is that it is something for them to lean on to reaffirm their decision, however they need to make it. They rarely... I mean, I think we've seen it once or twice maybe in the Premier League where the referee will go and look at the monitor and stay with his original decision. Or... they'll be late for blowing for a penalty or late for... I don't know. There's just something about it which... And when they get it right, if these semi-automated offsides work right and they can concentrate on less stuff than the 10 minutes at a time that's taken for offside decisions, maybe we'll get to a better place once this is in. Like, I was really... in the referee's corner pre-VAR, the fact that I thought we had, that in the Premier League, had the best in the world, and that you couldn't get better than the likes of, and say what you want about him, but the likes of Howard Webb and people like that who were doing World Cup finals and stuff. We were the gold standard, and then VAR's come in, and I just think we're miles off it, and I think VAR is at fault.
I mean, we've talked about this a lot, and I'm not sure 100% agree, but I think that one's for another day now. I think there's in.
All right. So that's wrapped up video assisted refereeing improvements, enhancements, whenever that comes in. The other rule change was about the goalkeepers. Can you explain this one a little bit to me?
Yeah, so this has come off the back of the IFAB's AGM happening, I think still happening now. And still happening now when we're recording, in Northern Ireland, hosted by Northern Ireland this time. And a big rule change that's got quite a bit of media attention. And there's always rule changes at these. Some of them quite small, non-consequential, usually handball related. And sometimes there's ones that actually genuinely can change the game a little bit. And I think this is an example of that with regards to one that I think could have a real change in the game. Particularly,
let me just outline it then. So the headline is about the goalkeepers holding onto the ball for 8 seconds. If if a goalkeeper is deemed to be in breach of that or multiple breaches of it, then a corner kick will be given for the goalkeeper holding onto the ball.
I'll clarify. It's not multiple. It's first one straight out.
Yeah.
And the key difference is that at the 3 second point, the referee will start to gesture 5, 4, 3. And whilst it's been trialled, because this has been trialled in various sort of leagues across Europe, of the 400 games it was trialled in, only 4 times did they need to actually award the corner. So goalkeepers quickly were moving the ball onwards. Like, it made a real impact on the game.
The stinger is going to come when someone's goalkeeper keeps hold of the ball against Arsenal, and we go score a corner.
Well, I think that it's a really good rule change, I think. Because I think and this is probably what the conversation was. I don't know what, like, it's like the conclave, isn't it? The Pope. Yeah. You don't know what actually gets said behind there. But I think, go on.
Lee, before you get into it, previously this was a 6 second rule, weren't it? That was never enforced.
No, I've only seen it enforced once, and it was against us.
That? Was 6 second rule a indirect free kick? Oh, am I
right? Yes, it's an indirect free kick in the penalty area
for the 6 second.
For the 6 second rule.
No, it's going to be 8 seconds in a corner.
Correct, and this is an important difference because the 6 second indirect free kick is a massive consequence, and I think that stops referees from giving it because it's almost it's what's the word? It's not a justifiable punishment. There is a word for that, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But yeah, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
So referees wouldn't enforce it essentially, and it got to a real issue, especially in the lower leagues. There's a bit it's so bad in League One. This kind of stuff. It's to the point where it's just generally accepted. Like, it's horrendous.
Can I ask you a question? Does bouncing the ball relieve it from your possession as a goalkeeper?
In the current rules, no. But I don't know. I've not seen the new rule as a written thing. But no, they talk about it as being in possession. So no, if you're bouncing it, that currently counts as your 6 seconds. As does throwing it in the air for purpose as well. If you just threw it in the air really high up and caught it, that still counts as in possession.
Right.
So the corner is theoretically less of a punishment. So it's easier to enforce because it's not. I mean, the incident, I remember was us away at Newcastle and we conceded from the resulting indirect free kick. It's just the Escalano because I think the announced there was going to be a clamp down on this at that point. And I'm a bit younger here. I must be like 13, 14-year-old, so I don't remember it inside out. But
they've made an example of that.
Yeah, there was a Premier League directive, and we got done that weekend for it, conceded, and never saw it again.
Well, that was going to be my next thing. Is this just going to be a flash in the pan? We're going to see it for the first couple of weeks of the Premier League season next year, and then it's going to go away like a lot of other things that have come and gone.
I don't think so. I think they're getting better at this because if you look at the additional time, that's still higher. No, it's gone down a bit in the Premier League, but I think, generally speaking, the keeping the ball in play is massively improved in the Premier League. With a multi-ball and stuff like that. So, but in our games, you're still seeing 10, 12 minutes at a time. Like, that's not gone away. So, I think they're getting better with these enforcements, in terms of ensuring that they're being done, like, sort of top level. So I don't think so, to be honest. I don't think so. Plus, I think it'll actually be good. I mean, this is a good change. I think it'll really make a difference.
I think so. I do. I'm trying to forward think this and think of a goalkeeper panicking on the with the referee's hands in the air on the countdown, and goalkeeper just booting it out into nothing. I mean, this won't be the first time we've seen a potentially positive change come. Now, whether it sticks around and whether it's enforced properly, you're going to get the Twitter nerds of the world saying it was 9 seconds, it was clear. Like, there's going to be. But
even 9 seconds is better than what we have now. So, if there's like ones that are on the fence, and that's not why it's being done, and that's why you've only lost out on a corner, not in that. This is why it's much better because even if like they kick it right on the 8th and it's like, oh, was that a buff? Did they get? It don't really matter. Like he shaved 11 seconds off it or something, what the average is now.
Yeah.
Now I think there is a case. This isn't something that's been talked about a lot. That a lot of these rules do seem to help, in my view, the stronger teams. These rule changes. That does seem to be something that keeps happening. So, more substitutions, I think, benefits teams with much deeper squads. Well, I think adding further additional time for time wasting, I think benefits teams that theoretically would be winning games more than losing. As does this, But having said that, I do think ball in play is an issue. So there is that. But
I don't think this is favoured for the big teams, if I'm honest. And I think
maybe not you.
Arguably the big
the dark
teams,
arts.
This is what I'm saying. Arguably the big teams are the ones who are more culpable for this particular incident with goalkeepers. I'm just thinking of Alisson, Edison, and David Raya. Probably the 3 best goalkeepers with the ball at the feet seem to also be the goalkeepers with a lot of possession of the ball.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think this one is skewed in favour.
Maybe.
I think you're right though about it affecting lower.
This is a godsend. This is a godsend. Stuff like this is massive for us. Like I cannot tell you how frustrating time wasting is. Even though now they add it on. I think back to that Bolton Crawley game, the 4-3 win. 12 minutes added on, right? It's just you're there all night, like, and it's just it's nauseating, and yeah, it's just endless time. And I think referees do try and get out the far better with booking. That they are better at it, but this kind of stuff and the multi-ball stuff, that's the stuff that genuinely makes a difference. So I'm very for this rule.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there any other rule changes that you'd like to see come in that we haven't already previously discussed, or any minor tweaks that you can think of? Because maybe this can be a topic for another day.
I think that's a topic for. I think generally there's probably a bit of work. I'd like to have a think about that, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I think that's a topic for another day. It's a good shout though. Things that we can all bring one, can't we? I think we tried that before, but I think Luke said something absolutely stupid. So.
Yeah. Added time multi-ball.
Yeah, exactly. So or no energy drinks allowed or something. Yeah, we'll have a think about that. We'll do that another day, I reckon.
Right.
Maybe a segment for the 100th episode, Martin.
That's a show. If anyone does have any suggestions, please do let us know. You can do that in the comment section on Spotify, on YouTube, in our Instagram. Get on that. While you're doing that and subscribing, we're going to have a quick break and we'll see you in a minute. And we are back. Liam, it's been a big week let's go with the Premier League. Since we last spoke, there was a glimmer of hope of Arsenal's title challenge. Since that fateful Monday night was the last of my hopes. Where I did say that I was on the edge in terms of our title running, but since then it's gone even worse, and we drew with Nottingham Forest, and that was pretty much the end of it because Liverpool went and beat Newcastle, so that was pretty much it. All that being said, until it's mathematically done, I am still going to be that idiot who clings on to every glimmer of a chance of a hope that there's still something in this for Arsenal. There isn't, but it's nice to not think that the season's over in the beginning of March.
Well, how long is it till Saka's back? Because you could do him for the Champions League.
Yeah, I think we're looking at the end of this month where we've got the internationals, so beginning of April is what they're talking about. Martinelli might be before that. So
when are you in the Champions League this week?
Yes, this week, Tuesday, against PSV.
Okay, because you should have enough to get past PSV. over 2 legs.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, so you should have enough for that. When would the next round of the Champions League be? Because that's important
After
for you, I
the
think.
internationals, yeah.
Okay, well that having Saka back could make a big difference.
Yeah, that's a potential tie against a Madrid side, let's say.
Yeah, Atletico are playing really well at the moment. It's no guarantee that's Real Madrid, I don't think, at the moment.
No.
Atletico, it's absolute bear pit, that stadium at the moment.
Yeah. So, I mean, I saw the footage, I don't know if anyone's seen it, but of Conor Gallagher.
Conor Gallagher being Conor Gallagher, in it, like
going for it, Simeone just getting the crowd absolutely fired up. It was a really great video, I thought.
It's such a good fit for him, that move. I know he's been in a team, but it's a good team. It's a good, he's part of a good squad there. Like, their midfielders they're all like pitbull. It's such a good fit. I hope he stays there, to be honest, because I think it's a really good place for him to be.
Yeah, I like it. I like our English talent being out on the continent and doing it. Like, I like what it will do for, Bellingham's obviously at Real Madrid and doing the business. So yeah, Conor Gallagher, I think it can only benefit him. So yeah, all our eggs are in the Champions League basket at the moment. It's going to be very tough, but this was leading me on to a point that I wanted to make about Mo Salah. There's been a lot of chat about him recently, about him not getting into. People are obsessed with all-time 11s and like listing of players and does he deserve this and what does he deserve for his career. But does Mo Salah deserve more respect in these conversations? There was one conversation going around this week about, like, Mo Salah. No one can deny the numbers that Mo Salah has put up for the last 5-6 years, however long he's been at Liverpool. They've been unbelievable.
Yep.
But does he excite you like some other players? Does he get people off their feet the same? And he's always been chucked into a bracket with like Bale and Hazard, for example, a similar, position on the pitch and generation, if you will, as well, that these players have been in. That maybe Bale and Hazard, and I'm trying to think of other players who've been in around, his position and have been excited. Alexis Sanchez, even his time at Arsenal. Like, does Mo Salah get people off the seat as much? Does he deserve more respect?
No, he probably doesn't in that sense. But is that what makes you a great player?
Yeah.
And this is what it comes down to, isn't it? And I think that question in itself is a little pointed, because you're almost sort of shifting the conversation into what's probably Mo Salah's weakest area. Like, he isn't as easy on the eye as some of those other players that you mentioned, particularly like someone like Bale, who's like tall and athletic and like runs with so much power, and like he's aesthetically more pleasing on the eye than sort of Salah. Like, he's more scuttles, doesn't he? And it's not as I would say Suarez was quite similar in that. In terms of how he thing. And Hazard's a funny one, isn't it? Because he was absolutely brilliant, but he did blow hot and cold, really hot and cold. And I feel like people forget that a little bit with Hazard. And as much as I think he was brilliant and he was absolutely pivotal to title wins for Chelsea, so I'm not dismissing him at all. But he did blow hot and cold, whereas Salah never does. He's just consistently amazing.
So consistent. It's his numbers are an absolute freak show. They're insane. For any fantasy football players out there, he's already, I think he's less than 15 points away from the all-time record of fantasy football points, which is already his record from his first season at Liverpool. Yeah. And that just shows, like, the things that you're measured on. Obviously, you get points for in fantasy football, and he's out there breaking records. And he is. If you just took into account Liverpool's away matches, he would still be in front of the next highest.
Yeah, his away form's ridiculous. The thing is, as well, he contributes at such important moments. It's not like
he's so clutch. He's so clutch.
Yeah, if there's a 1-0 win, he's popping up in the 70th minute. Like, it's ridiculous. Now, in terms of, I think the debate was around these sort of higher accolades, wasn't it? These higher individual accolades. Like,
yeah.
So best ever Premier League right wing. I mean, if he isn't, he's very much in the conversation. That's enough, I think, because then it's a matter of opinion then. But to say he doesn't belong there is incorrect. Like, he is one of maybe 2 or 3 players you could put in there. For me, he's definitely in there. But I can understand if you might say, well, I might say that Ronaldo season was brilliant. I think it was Salah's, in the Premier League anyway, delivered a lot more than Ronaldo did. But whatever. That's another one. But the other one, I think, was the Ballon d'Or question, wasn't it?
That was going around, yeah. He's the bookies' favourites at the moment.
I don't think he's ever been the best player in the world at any point in his career. So I think the idea that he has been unfair to not get that accolade, I think is not right. And I'm Salah's biggest fan. Like, I think he's amazing. But I can't think a point in his career where he is the best player in the world.
He was never robbed of it at any point.
No, I really don't believe that at any point. And I would say this is his best chance, arguably. And he is one, for me, he's one of 2 or 3 that could win it. Like, in my head, there's him, Vinicius Jr. and Van Dijk that are all up there at the moment as the best 3 players in the world. But yeah. I probably still think Vinicius Jr. Whenever I watch Vinicius Jr., I'm just, I can't believe how good he is. Like, and yeah, it's really breathtaking watching Vinicius Jr. So I don't know. It's one of them 3. So again, but that kind of is up there. You don't have to be number 1. Like, if you're like top 5 best players in the world for your full career, that is an amazing career.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. What do you think?
I think he is annoyingly brilliant. His stats are, frustratingly consistent. He's so clutch, it's unbearable. When you're playing against Liverpool, you just hope that they take him off, and they never do. He's always fit. He's fucking fitter than ever at 33. And, yeah, his goal contributions alone this year deserve to put him in that conversation, let alone the stuff that he does actually bring to the team and the way he gets involved in play. And the player he's become and he's evolved a little bit. He's not the in behind the fullback style winger at the same anymore. He's almost he's pinning himself onto the touchline and keeping defenders with him, and his game's evolved that way as well. He's so strong. He's so fucking good at finishing. There's very little flaws into his game. And
his passing as well. His passing is so
very
good.
underrated.
Like even not just from the assist alone, but just the way he just builds the play up. Like when he gets the ball, and he brings in some like Szoboszlai into the attack. Like it's consistently accurate, brilliant.
I will say though, like that the argument is valid. I think Salah will go down as better than all them players that I spoke about: Bale, Hazard, Sanchez. But in the same way, them 3 players excited me more than he ever has.
Oh, I think that's fair. I think there's a reason you asked that question, like I said, and I think it's true. So, Sanchez doesn't get anywhere near that conversation because he United, but he was when he was at Arsenal, he was the best player in the Premier League.
That's my opinion too, but it becomes controversial when people start mentioning some of his other opponents. And that was in a shit Arsenal side as well. I'd love to.
Oh yeah. It was
if we had him now, God, that would be frightening. Anyway, last point on Liverpool for a second. Will Mo Salah be there? Will he be picking up his Ballon d'Or whilst a free agent or at some...
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if he's not, but you never know. Like, he's not signed it yet.
You'd be surprised if he was not at Liverpool?
Oh, no, if he didn't renew, is what I meant. I'd be surprised if he leaves.
I'd be more surprised if he was there by the time it comes around to Ballon d'Or. At the moment,
really?
Just because of we're in March and he hasn't signed a new contract. Same with Van Dijk. There's maybe more positive noise around Van Dijk. There's no noise about Trent, which certainly means that one's off.
Oh, I think Trent's gone, yeah.
And even the way Slot's using him a little bit more now, subs him, or he'll start him on the bench and subs him off about 60 minutes.
It'd be interesting to see what they do, whether they trust Conor Bradley with that position, or they go and... Well, it's Jeremy Frimpong you were going by, isn't it? He is the other standing right-back candidate. And if Real Madrid are getting Trent, then that leaves you open to get Frimpong. So we'll see what happens there. And he lived around here, didn't he, Frimpong, as well? He was at City. Yeah.
So, yeah, I would be surprised if he is at Liverpool this time next year. Well, I think he deserves to be. You make exceptions for people like him. So, but Liverpool do things in a certain way. There's a lot of Liverpool and people online talking about the way that, it's
Michael Edwards' supercomputer. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, can you talk to me a little bit about Bolton Wanderers?
Things are going quite well for Bolton at the moment. So, on the back of a couple of good wins, we had a really, really good away draw away at Wrexham at the weekend. 0-0, clean sheet, something that we've been missing. Even though we're scoring a lot of goals this season, we do concede, and that's been essentially what cost Dean Everett his job, the fact that we would concede goals. So,
give me the lay of the land for League One. What we're looking like now with, 10 games left-ish?
So Bolton are just outside the playoff positions. I think we're a point behind.
And Birmingham are way out in front at top.
Birmingham are up. Birmingham are up, and then you've got a fight for second that's between Wickham and Wrexham. Maybe Stockport are in it as well. Probably between Wickham and Wrexham. And I think Wickham will do it. So I think the automatics are an absolute non-start. Well, Bolton are about 10 points off it, which you don't make that up at this stage of the season. So then you've got a number of what I think are quite serious teams that are in the playoff hunt. You've got your Huddersfields, Charlton, Bolton. Pretty big teams at that level, all sort of vying for playoff positions. So it's going to be a bit of a scrap, even at that level. It's quite a strong league. I think when you take a step back and look at it, actually, there's quite a lot of decent teams in this league now.
I was actually looking at something to do with stadiums and, the sort of the biggest and smallest stadiums in each league.
Yeah.
And it only takes a drop off in terms of the size of stadium when you get to the bottom half of League Two.
Yeah.
You're looking at 20,000 odd seaters pretty much throughout the entire country at all levels. It's mad.
Yeah.
And that just determines the size. That just shows you the size of the clubs that are in and around all leagues now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them struggle to fill them. I'm
not saying they're all full.
But at the top in the League One, you've got some pretty well-supported clubs, some pretty big ones. And at the Bolton game that'll be this week, Bolton Birmingham, you're looking at around 24,500 were sold by Friday. So what are you looking at? By the time it kicks off, maybe 26,000. That's probably one of the biggest selling games we've had in quite a long time.
And this is going to be the first big test for... I mean, the Wrexham game was a big test for Schumacher since he's been in charge, especially away. But this is the outright leaders of the league who can more or less sew up promotion this week if they get a win.
Yeah, I don't know if I call it a big test, just because I just think they're just so much better than everyone. It's almost like, I actually look at it a different way. It's like a free hit a little bit, because they're going to beat most teams. So anything that we get here is a bonus. We've won a lot of games recently, and other teams have dropped points. So no matter what this is a game in hand for us as well. So kind of whatever happens, it's not going to be that bad. But at the same time, I fancy us at home against anybody. We're still Bolton Wanderers at home. So give it a go. But I think big test, I don't know. I don't know if this is the game I'd test him on. We've got some really big games coming up, not far away. Blackpool and Wigan away always seem to be together. I would call them they're the bigger tests. We need Blackpool are on fire at the moment, so these are big games.
Yeah, I'm not saying this will be the game to judge him on particularly, but in terms of level of opponent,
it's good to see where we're at. Yeah, we can see where we're at, but I've got to admit, I'm going in. Like I said, despite how bullish it was about 30 seconds ago, I'd be surprised if we actually got anything from this game because they are so good, Birmingham. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Fair enough. Right. Let's go back to the magic of the FA Cup. Something we spoke about recently as well. But like you said at the start of the episode, it was a great weekend for football and results. None more so than at our favourite haunting ground, Old Trafford. The holders have gone out of the FA Cup this week. First of all, what are your thoughts on that? The way they set up, sort of everything about the match. They went out on penalties, and it can happen to even the greatest of model clubs around. That can happen.
The setup thing's an interesting question, isn't it? Because people are now starting to ask this question as, like, how long can you keep doing this without trying to win some football matches, even for a bit? Everyone knows that you've got a big plan, but, we've now got a situation where you're 15th in the league, you're at the FA Cup, and you've got a game against Sociedad now in midweek that essentially is the full season going into that game. So, is there any accountability at some point for Amorim? He'll say all the right things. He's very good at that for me. But I don't know. I think you're going to stick with him, but I don't like what he's doing, to be honest. I wouldn't like it if I was a United fan. I'd want to see a little bit more pragmatism, I think. But
his lack of adaptability is a little bit worrying. The way his sporting team set up, and we played against them a few times under Amorim, Arsenal, that is.
Not Hoyt St Mary's, yeah.
Not way, yeah. Schoolboy era. They're very hard to break down, very hard to counter on for such a compact team. They get numbers around the ball, every position on the pitch. And that formation should be quite dynamic. Now, you can talk about personnel then, but we're talking about the elite footballers. If you play for Man United, you're a certain level of footballer. You're not just anybody. Now, you might say this is the weakest Man United team you've ever seen. Probably is, but they're still Man United players at the end of the day. They walk into most other teams in the country, in Europe, a lot of these footballers. So
he's pushing the narrative, isn't he? Because no one was saying that about Ten Hag United. They should be doing better. But now it's the worst Man United team in history, and it's like, that's very, very clever. That.
Yeah, look what you've left me with. Yeah.
But they won the FA Cup last year.
Yeah. The League Cup before that. Like they've been through these, under Ten Hag. So I'd be worried, especially with the fixture that they've got at the weekend, which is, Liam?
I'm not even sure. Oh, is it Arsenal? Oh, I see where we're going now.
Yes, the big boys are in town.
So that usually get a bit of a thing, but I think you're both in a bit of a limbo, aren't you now?
We just want the season to end, and I think they do too.
I think you've still got a bit to play for, but
I know, I've just been kicked so hard. It's
Champions League. Win enough games to make sure you finish second. Focus on the Champions League.
A win at PSV this week will be massive for us. I think we need a boost of confidence, and I think that'll be massive.
Yeah,
I'd like to really go for it towards the end of the season. No matter what it's going to play out, we can almost pretty much put Liverpool's name on the trophy. But no matter how it plays out, we've got to go out strong.
100%. And is it at Old Trafford or is it?
It's at Old Trafford. Yeah,
it's Old Trafford.
I feel like that's even more of a chance for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham really outplayed them for large periods of that game.
Yeah.
They're pretty good, Fulham. I think I can't get the transformation in Iwobi for me is amazing. Like, I was listening to a podcast earlier who said, Iwobi was the safe side. He's always been brilliant. I thought, no, he's not.
He has not always been brilliant.
Like, don't get me wrong, the talent's always been there, but at Everton, I thought he was such a poor player for Everton. He seemed playing a different game to everybody else. He was
a mess for us.
He was slow and lethargic when, like, everyone else was kind of going at 1,000,000 miles an hour under, like, Dyche ball, whoever it was previously to that. So he looks brilliant at Fulham. Like, the way he sort of dictates all the play. Like, he carries the ball from side to side, and
yeah.
Yeah, really, really good. Brilliant player. So, yeah, I mean, is it a shock? Probably not.
No, that's the thing. It's not these days. Where else? Is there anything else to pick up on from the weekend, the week forward? We've got Champions League this week and European knockout stages starting, so that'll be exciting. I'm hoping for a good week for Arsenal, and I think there's a feeling of like a winding up to this break that's going to be, because it's a full 2.5 week break when the next internationals come around. It feels like a long one, and then it'll be the run-in for the rest of the season. But I feel like we're in a weird ground. Maybe because I've had a weekend off watching football. Maybe that's why I feel like that.
Yeah,
get back into it.
Yeah, you need to watch some football if you can do a football podcast. Yeah, I agree.
No. It's not necessary. We've proved it.
It worked for Scott, didn't it? Anyway. What are you going to Chelsea got on this weekend? I didn't see it. All right, nice one.
Right, sorry. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We will be back very soon with details on our 100th episode. If you want to be involved in the 100th episode, we're going to be filming that. There's going to be loads of content going out from it. We're going to do like a Q&A style episode. Loads of other stuff. We're just going to have a laugh and a joke and see how it goes. And that'll just be to celebrate us. Because 100 episodes puts us in like the 0.01% of podcasts ever. Just in terms of longevity. Which I think is good. And we both enjoy it, right?
Yes.
Set that gun away from your head now.
Yeah, I was going to say, under my own free will.
If you want any information for that, or any information on previous or next episodes upcoming, you can find that on all our social medias, and the links are at our website, which is fixingfootballpodcast.com. Liam, thanks very much.
Goodbye, Martin.
And catch you all on the next one. Bye, everyone.